in the boxes. Everything he sees, he absorbs and adopts it. He mimics and he mocks it. Really hates the box, but he can't remember how to stop it. So he continues to watch it, hoping that it'll give him something that he can box with. Or how the locksmith see the boxes locked in the box. They ain't got the combination to unlock it. That's why he watches, scared to look away, cause at that moment it might show him what to take off the locks with. So he chained himself to the box, took a lock and then he locked it. Swallowed the combination and then forgot it. As the doctors jotted all down with their pens and pencils, the same ones that took away his voice and just left his instrumental like that. Never lies, he never lies, he never lies, he never lies, no. He never lies, 'cause he never said anything at all. He just sits and listens to the people in the boxes. Everything he hears, he absorbs and adopts it. Anything not coming out the box, he blocks it. See, he loves the box and hope they never stop it. Anything the box tell him to do, he does it. Anything you tell him to get, he shops and he cops it. He protects the box, locks it in the box when he goes to sleep. But he never sleeps cause he stays up to watch it. Scared to look away, cause at that moment it might get stolen, and that's the last of the boxes. So he chained himself to the box, took a lock and then he locked it. Swallowed the combination and then forgot it. As the doctors jotted all down with their pens and pencils, the same ones that took away his voice, just left his instrumental like that.
What's up, fellas? You know I rarely do videos on Saturday, so this is a Saturday morning special. I'm really going to be talking about some stuff I've talked about a number of times in previous videos. At least half of this video is going to be more on the ongoing debate about direct approaches versus indirect approaches. Direct versus indirect. And this was provoked from some feedback I received in my I received in my comment section. I received a couple questions, and also I received some feedback from some of my followers. Quick note about that. Well, first, man, one of the reasons I'm doing a video on a Saturday, man, we got dumped on here in the Chicago area. So all you men and women who live in warm weather cities and countries, yeah, I'm jealous of you right now. I'm envious of you right now, you motherfuckers. Fuck all you warm weather city motherfuckers, man. I'm hating on y'all today. Man. Yeah, man, we got dumped on. Matter of fact, let me show a few seconds of footage from my backyard. As you can see, we got hit with about, I think, 6 to 8 inches, if not more, of snow. About 6 to 8 inches of snow. And yeah, man, you know, I mean, it's not too bad. I've seen worse, actually, here in the Midwest. So it's not too bad. I've actually seen worse, but this might be the thickest snow we've gotten so far in 2019. A lot of guys ask me, actually, they say, Alan, given that you seem like you don't like cold weather, why are you still in the Midwest? Why haven't you moved back to Los Angeles where you used to live, or to a warm weather city like Miami? It seemed like you enjoyed Miami when you were down there last year. Why are you still in the Midwest? Valid question. Well, I would say without question, the most significant reason is because that's what my older brother and his wife are. And if anybody know me and my brother's relationship, me and my brother are like this wrapped around 3 more times. I'm real tight with my brother, man. My brother's my ace. He's always been my biggest supporter. He's observed all the shit I've been through in my life. And trust me, I've been through a lot of shit, particularly financially, career-wise, a lot of ups and downs. Yeah. Fam, man. Fam first. And I guess I always felt like if I moved away, because with what I do, I'll be honest, I can live any fucking where I want to. In the United States or outside of the United States. I I'm not relegated to live anywhere. I could live, being a book author and a dating coach, I could live fucking anywhere in the world that I choose to. But at least for right now I am thinking about getting a second place in Los Angeles, Brentwood actually. So I might get a second place in California. That's not definite, but I might. But yeah, man, I'd say the biggest reason is my brother, man, because I always felt like if I did move away and say, I don't know, 9 months later, I found out my brother, guess, man, I forgot to turn off my notifications again. Fuck. Damn. Sorry about that. Yeah, I feel like if I moved away and I don't know, my brother unexpectedly, something happened and he passed away, man. That would just kill me, man. I mean, I watched my father die right in front of my face. I watched my mother die in my arms. I'm pausing because I don't want my emotions to overwhelm me. But yeah, I watched both my parents die in my face. So my older brother's all I got. As far as immediate family. Now I got extended family, of course. And I got a wide variety of close friends that are like family. But I mean, as far as immediate family, that's all I got. So anyway, for the time being, yeah, I'm gonna be here. As long as my brother's here, I'll be here. Despite this cold ass weather. And Midwest though, man, speaking of weather though, man, one thing you gotta give the Midwest and specifically the Chicago area, we don't deal with no earthquakes. We don't deal with no hurricanes. We deal with a handful of tornadoes here and there, but not like, Oklahoma, Nebraska. So yeah, man, the worst we deal with usually is super cold weather and snow. And the cost of living is relatively low here, depending on where you live. So yeah. So I'm here for the time being. But anyway, as you know, in my very last video that I just did, 2 days ago? I usually don't do 2 videos this frequently in the last few months, man. So I'm spoiling you motherfuckers. But then again, I might not come back next week at all with a video. So feel happy. Matter of fact, I was going to save this video for Monday, but Monday, I got an MRI. You familiar with an MRI examination? Man, the woman on the phone was scaring the shit out of me, man. Made me feel like I don't want to do an MRI. They want to do an MRI because to tell some of my health business. I've told it before. I get my kidneys monitored, and they found 3 cysts on my kidneys. 3 cysts, C-Y-S-T-S, 3 cysts. 2, they categorize as benign, meaning they're non-cancerous. But 1, there's a technical word for it, but it's currently benign, but it has the potential months from now, years from now, or even decades from now to become cancerous. And they want to further examine that cyst. So they're going to do an MRI on me on Monday. But the woman was asking me, she said, she kept asking me questions about, do I have anything metal or artificial in my body, like an artificial heart valve or something like that? And I was like, no. I said, I got a couple of fillings in my teeth, but other than that. And she kept saying, are you sure? Are you sure? And then she asked me multiple, in case of emergency contacts. I gave her my brother, my remaining aunt, and 1 or 2 other people. And I was like, damn, what is all this for? And she was like, well, in case anything goes wrong. Why the fuck would a woman want to tell me that? She should be fired for even saying that shit. Why would she want to say, in case anything goes wrong? What the fuck could go wrong in an MRI examination, man? I mean, I want to know. The fuck, man? Shit, I don't want nothing to go wrong. Why would she say in case anything goes wrong? What the fuck? What can go wrong? Let me know what can go wrong with an MRI examination. The fuck, man? That kind of fucked me up for a couple hours after she said that. In case anything goes wrong, Mr. Currie. Well, tell me what the fuck is going to go wrong in an MRI examination. I did some research on Google. Yeah, it turns out, yeah, you're not supposed to have anything like of metal or anything that's artificial, man-made in your body that's been inserted in your body, and I guess that can cause problems. But supposedly, if you don't have anything metal or artificial in your body, an MRI should go A-okay. It should be safe. But anyway, I didn't like the way she said that, in case anything go wrong. Anyway, my last video, I was talking about head games. And somebody asked me in my comment section, let me try to pull it up. Hold on. He asked me something about, Alan, why do you feel that based on everything you said in this video, why do you think more guys just don't become direct? Why do you think so many guys still believe indirect is better than direct? Let me see. Okay, yeah, here it goes. All right. See, y'all gonna see me in my old age putting on my reading glass, make me look like an old man. One last question. Why do many women talk as though a man just wanting to fuck them is a bad thing? Why do many women talk as though a man just wanting to fuck them is a bad thing? And I went on to answer this question in the comment section. But essentially, I referenced first my video. Do y'all remember my video from last year? I think last spring. I did a video simply, matter of fact, YouTube ended up age restricting this video, maybe because of the title. But I did a video called, and I'll put it in the comment section, called Fuck Buddy versus Boyfriend / Husband versus Purely Platonic Friend. You remember that video? If not, go back and watch it. But it relates to my response to his question. He says, he was asking basically, if women are down to have just strictly, casual sex with a man, why do they publicly act like the idea of casual sex turns them off? Why you think? Think about it. If you've watched a number of my videos, think about it. Why you think? Why you think that women will... First of all of y'all know about, I put a heavy emphasis on the concept of sexual duplicity. Sexual duplicity. Most of you should know what that means. Hold on. Speaking of my brother, man. My brother funny, man. I told y'all my brother more than anybody stays on my case about health and fitness. And my brother gave me 2 gifts for Christmas. He gave me one gift came in handy on my cruise ship journey. He brought me some Skechers. Man, I'm sure some of y'all got some Skechers, man. Skechers are comfortable than a motherfucker, man. Them some of the most comfortable shoes I've ever had, man. Because I was going to take these sandals, man, but as much walking as I did in a lot of these cities and ports, man, my feet would have been bleeding and bruised, man, walking in them sandals. But he brought me these Skechers, man, and I put them to use immediately. So that was cool. His second gift to me was this. He's funny. Pair of dumbbells. Pair of dumbbells, man. They're adjustable. They're cool. They're adjustable. You can adjust them. Like I could adjust this from 5, 10, 15, 20, I think, pounds. Let me see. So, yeah. This is courtesy of my big bro, Steven, buying me dumbbells, man. He said he want me. He said he wants me to be. Why is my stuff fuzzy? He said he wants me to be shredded somewhere between Memorial Day and July 4th. He said, man, I want you to get back to your fighting weight, man. I want you to be shredded, little bro. I want you to be shredded, man. Like you used to be, man. I want to see that six pack again in your abs, man. I want you to be shredded, bro. So that's one of my objectives for 2019. It's for Alan Roger Currie to just get shredded. Get back to my fighting weight, as they call it. Yeah. It's Justin Timberlake song. I'm bringing sexy back. What was I talking about? Okay, so yeah, man. Y'all should know, man. The main reason why most women are sexually duplicitous, man. That's a simple answer. Most women are sexually duplicitous. What that means for those small percentage of people watching this video that may not be familiar with the concept of sexual duplicity, number one, that's not strictly a female term. A man can be sexually duplicitous. Anytime you're publicly acting like you're this innocent, wholesome, strictly monogamy-oriented type person, that you're all about just sex, having sex within the context of a long-term romantic relationship, but privately you're kinky as hell and you're promiscuous as hell, that means you're duplicitous. You know, there's a lot of men who go around in society giving women the impression that they're, the proverbial nice guy who's all about boyfriend-girlfriend relationships and marriage, but behind closed doors, they be trying to get their kinky freak on casually. See, that means that man is duplicitous. That's a duplicitous man. Same with women. Women are going to always present themselves as being about relationships and marriage. Why? Think about it. Why? Why? Now, my last video that centered on BGS's debate with this YouTube personality called Ali Emmett, and I talked about the vicious cycle of head games. And this is kind of a continuation of that, the vicious cycle of head games. See, in that video, I talked about a couple of the similarities between men and women. Most specifically, I said, in the same way men have women that we want to date in a long-term relationship and or potentially marry, and we have women that we just want to have a few episodes of casual sex with, no strings attached casual sex with, I said women have the same delineation. They have men that they want to date in a long-term relationship and potentially marry, and they have men that they just want to fuck just to be fucking. And I basically point out the problem with a lot of men is men don't want to accept that a lot of women are just like them. A lot of men don't want to accept that women are just like them. But here's where, in this video, I'm going to talk about one of the major differences that most of you should already know already. Women place a high value on their non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. They place a lot of value on men's non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. Men, we don't place that much emphasis on our most men, and I'm generalizing, of course there's exceptions, but most men, man, we don't really care if women want our non-sexual attention and companionship or not. For the most part, we really don't. Unless we really in love with that woman. That would be the one glaring exception if we really in love with a woman. But for most women, man, we don't care if they want our non-sexual attention and companionship or not. We care if women want our sexual attention and companionship. But women are very different in that regard, man. Women They want you to place a high value. Oh, this brings me to something that sometimes I do this every now and then. I'll be on a video and I'll start a thought, but sad to say, I won't finish it because I'll digress. And this is when people accuse me of rambling and going off on different tangents and segues. And there was one point in my last video where I talked about the two factions of women who scored victories from the second wave of feminism. But then I said there's one major area where a lot of women lost. But then I digressed and started talking about something else. And somebody in my comment section ended up pointing that out. They said, Alan, you never finished that thought. How did women lose from the second wave of feminism? Technically, most of you all should already know. The main way women lost from second wave feminism, among other ways, is that it has slowly but surely diminished the appeal, the value and appeal of their non-sexual attention and companionship. That's why you got this pump and dump culture. A lot of men who just want to, as they call it, pump and dump. A lot of men don't really value women's non-sexual attention and companionship anymore because they feel like women are too sexually liberated, too sexually free-spirited, too promiscuous and or polyamorous. So a lot of men, their attitude is, I don't care about spending any time with that woman non-sexually. I just want to fuck her and then go about my way. And a lot of women are frustrated and agitated and angry about that. Just about all women, man, unless they are lesbian or they just really are so open-minded in their sexuality that they just really don't care. But the vast majority of women, man, they always want men to desire, value, and appreciate their non-sexual attention and companionship. That's one of the biggest reasons why women love long-term romantic relationships and why they love marriage. Because it guarantees them that they're going to have at least one man in their life who's going to value their non-sexual attention and companionship. That's why women hate to be called sluts and hoes. When you call a woman a slut, you're actually giving her simultaneously a compliment and a criticism. The compliment of calling a woman a slut is you're basically saying that that most men find her sexual attention and companionship highly desirable. So in regards to her sexual companionship, calling a woman a slut is actually a compliment. You're basically saying her sexual attention and companionship is desirable and worthwhile. But on the flip side, what you're saying when you call a woman a slut is that her non-sexual attention and companionship ain't worth shit. You're basically saying to other men, when you call a woman a slut, what you're saying to other men is she's worth it to spend time with sexually, but she's not worth it to spend time with non-sexually. Her non-sexual attention and companionship ain't worth shit. And women don't like that. Women don't like that, man. Women don't like to know that their non-sexual, the desirability and value of their non-sexual attention and companionship is being undervalued or totally ignored and overlooked. There's always exceptions again, but the vast majority of women, that's insulting to them. That's why it seems like a lot of women give you the impression that they're turned off by the idea of casual sex, even though most of the time that's not sincere or genuine, is because women don't ever want to at least publicly give off the impression that they just want men spending time with them strictly for their sexual companionship. Most women don't want to be ignored non-sexually. I talk about that in detail in the possibility of sex, man. Women hate being ignored non-sexually. They hate that shit, man. I've had women literally tell me, I told you about one woman I used to ride this commuter train with back in the day. She told me she couldn't sleep at night if she go more than 2 to 3 days without without receiving flattering attention from a man and engaging in entertaining conversation with a man. Women love receiving non-sexual attention and companionship from men 5 to 10 times more than we love receiving non-sexual attention and companionship from them. In a nutshell. Women love receiving non-sexual attention and companionship from us 5 to 10 times more than we love receiving non-sexual attention and companionship from them. Okay, get it? Got it? Good. All these notifications are popping up on my Smartphone. Made me lose my train of thought, man. It's hard for me to turn off my notifications. They're silent, and I'm not hearing them, but I'm seeing them. Pissing me off. Here's what I told this guy who asked me that question. Here's where men are similar, but at the same time, just the opposite. In the same way, women don't like to be called sluts because that means that you value their sexual companionship far more than their non-sexual companionship. Think about how us men are. What would be the similar way that men are similar? See, men are just the opposite. We hate when we feel like a woman undervalues our sexual companionship, which is why we don't like being put in the infamous friend zone. We hate it. Most men hate, heterosexual men anyway. We hate when women treat us like just friends. A woman treating us like just friends is the equivalent to a man treating a woman like a slut. We don't want to be treated like no purely platonic friend because that means that a woman has no interest in our sexual attention and companionship. She's only interested in our non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. I don't know of any man, unless he's already married or he already got his, special someone, he might not care too much. But if a man is single and he's really attracted to a woman and he wants to have sex with a woman, the last thing he wants is for that woman to treat him as just a friend. Makes me think of that Biz Markie song. I'm going to have to use that as one of my intro songs. You got what I need. But you say she's just a friend. I can't say it, so I ain't going to try. But neither can Biz Markie. That's a classic song. I love that song. So yeah, man, men are the same way. Men, in a nutshell, women hate when men undervalue their non-sexual attention and companionship. Men hate when women undervalue their sexual attention and companionship. So we're both similar, but at the same time different in that regard. Get it? Got it good. So going back to the vicious cycle of head games, and this is repetitive, but a lot of stuff I do in my videos is repetitive. But here's a simple basis of why men play head games with women and why women play head games with men. The basis for most of men's head games, is I'm going to give this woman the misleading impression that I desire, value, and appreciate her non-sexual attention and companionship just as much, if not more, than her sexual attention and companionship, when in reality, I could give a fuck about her non-sexual attention and companionship. I really just want her sexual companionship. That's the basis for men's head games. That's really the basis for what most men would refer to as indirect game. That's the primary basis behind indirect game. And when you're doing indirect game with women, what you're basically doing is some variation of you're pretending like you really desire, value, and appreciate a woman's non-sexual attention and companionship, when in actuality, you know damn well you really just want access to her sexual companionship. That's what indirect game is. That's why a lot of men lie to women, mislead women, and emotionally and psychologically manipulate women. Because it all comes down to the basis of that is they want to give that woman the impression that they desire, value, and appreciate that woman's non-sexual attention and companionship just as much, if not more, than that woman's sexual attention and companionship, when in reality, they know that's not the truth. They know that's not the truth. And I'm going to get to some feedback I got from one of my, he wanted me to read this on one of my videos, so I'm going to read it. A follower of mine named Dan Sanchez. He wanted me to read, but I'll read his in a second. I'm I'm gonna have to put on my reading glasses again. But women's game is pretty much, it's similar but yet different. It's pretty much just the same, but on the other end of the coin. This is what women do when they run game on men. Most women, particularly what I refer to as manipulative time wasters, what they do when they run game on men is they give you men the misleading impression that they desire and value your sexual companionship just as much, if not more, than your non-sexual companionship, when in reality, they could give a fuck about your sexual companionship. They ain't gonna never give you no pussy. They ain't gonna never suck your dick. They ain't gonna never give you no pussy. They're not gonna even give you a hand job. They might give you a hand job just to keep you, to string you along. So that's the nature of both genders' game plan. Again, the basis of just about all of man's game plan, manipulative head game, centers around, I'm going to give a woman a misleading impression that I desire and value her non-sexual companionship just as much, if not more, than her sexual companionship, when I know deep down that's a lie. In women's, the basis for just about all their manipulative head games is I'm going to give a man the misleading impression that I desire and value his sexual companionship just as much, if not more, than his non-sexual companionship, when in reality I have no intentions of letting that motherfucker sleep with me. Get it? Got it? Good. That's the basis for both genders' head games. Now, this brings me back to that video I did called Fuck Buddy versus Boyfriend / Husband versus Purely Platonic Friend. Here's the deal. When you meet a woman, within the first 5 to 10 minutes of your conversation, if not less, within the first 5 to 10 minutes of your conversation, a woman's going to put you in one of 3 categories. Well, technically, I'll say 4 categories. A woman's going to put you in one of 4 categories. I can guarantee you, any woman within the first 10 minutes or less of her first conversation with you, she's going to put you in one of 4 categories. One of 4 categories. And that's going to be a potential casual fuck buddy of hers, a potential long-term boyfriend and or future husband of hers, a purely platonic friend, or if not a pure, genuine platonic friend, someone she wants to use and exploit for access to your financial resources and material possessions. And the 4th category would be she don't want shit to do with you at all. She don't want shit to do with you at all. Make a note of that if you didn't know this already. Again, this is stuff I talked about in my previous video. But again, within the first 10 minutes or less after you meet any woman, I don't care who it is, any woman, she's going to put you in one of those 4 categories. She's either going to put you in the casual fuck buddy category, the long-term boyfriend / future husband category, the platonic friend / I want to just use this motherfucker for his financial favors category, and I don't want shit to do with this motherfucker category. At any given moment in time, you're going to be in one of those 4 categories. Okay? You got that? Now, this brings me to yet another discussion about direct versus indirect. Obviously, you got a lot of pickup artists and dating coaches who promote the indirect method, and then you got guys like me who promote the direct method. Now, there's a popular dating coach. I'm tempted not to say his name, but I might as well say his name because y'all already know who I'm probably going to be referring to. AMS, Alpha Male Strategies, aka AMS. This is one of his criticisms of the direct approach. He has at least 3 or 4 major criticisms of the direct approach, but one of his biggest ones is he tells his clients and followers, don't use the direct approach because you're going to leave pussy on the table. You're going to leave pussy on the table. In other words, you're going to potentially sacrifice opportunities to have sex with women that you probably could have had taken advantage of if you would have been indirect. So basically, he feels like direct will cause men to lose opportunities for having sex with women that they would have gained had they been indirect. But what I've argued on at least 2 or 3 videos before, and what I'm about to argue again, is that I feel just the opposite. I feel just the opposite. And the thing is, in just the last, 2 to 3 months, I've had a minimum of 3 of my followers who wrote me and basically verified that. They confirmed that. They co-signed with that. These 3 followers wrote me and in one way or another told me that in their experience, it was just the opposite. I'll highlight 2. One, a guy wrote in my comment section. I call him out by name. He goes by the name Dan Sanchez. I don't know if that's his real name or a name he just uses on YouTube. But a guy named Dan Sanchez. I'm going to read his commentary. But before I get to him, I had another guy. This is not his real name. I'll call him Juan. Juan, I mentioned him, I think, in one previous video. Juan was a guy who was following me. He was a Patreon subscriber of mine. And then he actually left. He stopped following me. He stopped subscribing to my Patreon channel. And I noticed it at the time, but I didn't really, say much about it. So he was gone, I want to say, for at least 3 or 4 months, if not a little longer. I'd say minimum, he was gone for about 3 or 4 months. Then he came back. And then a few weeks after he came back, he ended up confessing to me. He said, Alan, you probably noticed that I was, your Patreon subscriber for a long time. Then I left, and now recently I came back. I said, yeah, I noticed that. He said, well, one of the reasons why I left you, no disrespect, but he said, sometimes I felt like your commentary on male-female relationships was a little bit too negative, too pessimistic. Like, I never really felt you, like you talked about true love and, long-term, meaningful relationships where you have an emotional bond with a woman. He said, from listening to you, I almost began to feel like all women were nothing but scandalous, adulterous, unfaithful, highly manipulative, highly materialistic women that ain't really worth dealing with other than for just a quick pump and dump. And he said that was starting to leave me feeling a little jaded. So he said, I left you and started following another dating coach. I ain't going to name the dating coach. It wasn't AMS, in case y'all thinking it was AMS. It wasn't AMS. It was another dating coach. He said, I started following another dating coach who put more emphasis on, long-term relationships and romance and he was more indirect. And so he said at first when he started following this other dating coach, he felt like, the guy was giving him good advice. But then he realized slowly but surely that the guy was giving him a lot of indirect-oriented advice instead of direct advice, indirect-oriented advice. And without getting into a long story, what do you think happened? What is my single biggest criticism against indirect, among other things? Is it opens the door for manipulative time wasters. That's why, again, that's 90% of the reason why I wrote my book, The Possibility of Sex. There's a number of reasons why I don't like indirect, but probably the single biggest reason is that it opens the door for manipulative time wasters to cause you to waste time and money. And anyway, that's what he ended up saying, man. He said once he went back to being indirect, he said a lot of women just basically start being manipulative time wasters, man. And it was hard for him to quickly and effectively identify them. See, that's the problem, man. When you direct, you can quickly identify manipulative time waster types. You can identify them literally within like 5 to 10 minutes of your first conversation with them. When you indirect, it's going to take you a long time to identify. At minimum, it's going to take you hours. At maximum, it's going to take you days, weeks, months, even years. It takes you longer to identify a manipulative time waster when you indirect. And that's basically what this guy Juan was saying, man. He said, I ended up dealing with a lot of manipulative time wasters. And he said, secondly, he said, even the women that I did end up fucking as a result of being indirect, and I've said this before, I always tell guys, even if you're successful in getting a woman in bed, say by being indirect, you usually going to end up investing much more time and much more money than you would if you would have been direct. And that was his second criticism, man. He said, there were some women I got in bed by being more indirect, but it required that I had to invest more time and I had to invest more money. And then one more thing he pointed out, and I pointed this out, that a lot of guys overlook, man. And this is where, remember when I said I had these conversations with these women in Los Angeles in early November of last year? At least half these women I talked to acknowledged this. They said this to me straightforwardly. I would say one of the other detriments to being indirect, even if you get the pussy, you don't get the same respect, man. You don't get that alpha male respect like you do when you direct. Even when, see, a lot of guys have this impression or under this misguided belief that pussy is just pussy. No, it's not. I pointed this out on at least a couple of my free videos, and I know I did 2 or 3 Patreon exclusive videos where I emphasize this, man. And I talked about this actually at the 21 convention last year. There's a difference between alpha male pussy and beta male pussy. I'm going to tell you that straight up. There's a difference between alpha male pussy and beta male pussy. A lot of guys think as long as you get pussy from a woman, you good to go. That's not true. Well, I would say if you're having a one-night stand with a woman or maybe a weekend fling, that might be halfway true. You could halfway say, pussy is pussy. I got what I wanted. But if you're looking for anything longer than, say, a one-night stand or weekend fling, nah, bruh. There's a difference between alpha male pussy and beta male pussy. I'll give you a perfect example. What I talked about in my last video. Remember when I was talking about me being a woman's other man? Like a married woman's other man, or a woman who was engaged to be married's other man? Those women had sex with me different than they did their husbands, fiancés, and boyfriends. Like when those women had sex with me, man, they allowed me to treat them like pretty much like they was just a 2-bit slut. I would get rough with them. I would call them all kinds of names while I was fucking them. And they loved that shit. But they would tell me, each one of them would tell me, they would say, I never let my husband or I never let my fiance or boyfriend have sex with me like this. When I have sex with my husband, fiance, or boyfriend, it's more gentle, more romantic type sex, what most women call making love. There's making love and then there's fucking. There's making love and then there's fucking. And most of the women who I used to mess around with, who were married, engaged to be married, or had boyfriends, just about all of them would tell me, they would say when they had sex with their husbands, fiancés, or boyfriends, they were more so engaged in making love type sex. Whereas when they engaged in sex with me, it was just straight up raw animal fucking. You get different type of respect, man, when you direct, man, than you do when you indirect. And again, that's what these women in Los Angeles told me, man. They said, when you present yourself as indirect, that makes them look at you as more beta. That makes them look at you as kind of somewhat wimpy and beta. Particularly if their interest is casual sex. And anyway, now I'm going to read Dan Sanchez's commentary, where I put on my old man reading glasses again. Okay, this is what Dan Sanchez, and you can find this in my video entitled ARC Calls Out the Top 5 Contradictions of Dating Coach AMS. Dan Sanchez said, Alan, AMS, referring to Alpha Male Strategies, Alan, AMS says that you lose women by being direct, but actually it is just the opposite. Actually, you lose more women by being indirect than by being direct and honest. And I wrote in my comment section, I said, no truer words have ever been spoken. What you said has been my own experience and observation, and the experience and observation of many of my male clients. And it has. Dan Sanchez continues, I remember many times when I was really slow with women, trying to be smooth with them, not giving them validation, not showing my interests and intentions, and I eventually lost the woman. Also, I remember the times I didn't talk to a woman because I was really stuck on what to say and how to say it in a way that would prevent me from giving her too much validation. You lose a lot of women and chances of quick sex by being indirect that most men don't realize. And I simply said, bingo, young brother. Exactly. It's true. I would say particularly, man, if you're trying to, excuse me, not that this should always be objective, but if you're trying to score what's known as a same-day seduction, or say you're trying to fuck a woman within the first 24 to 72 hours after you meet her, man, the worst thing you could be is fucking indirect. The worst fucking thing you can be is indirect. Guys just don't get that, man. Anyway, he continues. However, by being mode 1, you only lose women who were not interested in having sex with you in the first place. You indirect motherfuckers listening to that? My haters and critics, y'all listening to that? Y'all need to take notes. I know because you want to be hard-headed and defiant, you don't want to take notes. But you need to take notes on that motherfucking shit, because I've been saying that since the 1990s. And this is where I go vehemently against AMS assertion that you lose pussy by being mode 1. No, you don't. I ain't never lost the opportunity to fuck a woman by being mode 1 of a woman who was genuinely attracted to me sexually. Not one fucking time. Not one fucking time have I done that. Not one time. The only women you end up being rejected by when you direct is women who didn't want to have sex with you in the first fucking place. And more specifically, who weren't interested in having casual sex with you in the first fucking place. That's the only women you're going to lose the opportunity to have sex with. Is either women who are just totally not interested in having sex with you, or I would say at bare minimum, you'll get rejected by women who know from the get-go that all they want is relationship sex with you, and because you're being direct about the fact that you only want casual sex, of course they're not going to be interested. But see, as I've said a million times, I'm not trying to have casual sex with women who are not interested in having casual sex. I'm not. I ain't trying to toy with women's emotions like that. See, this is where I get a lot of arguments from the indirect guys. There's a lot of indirect guys that they want to trick women into having casual sex with them. I ain't trying to trick no woman into having casual sex with me. Now, that said, there's a lot of women who will pretend like they're not interested in casual sex. Pretend like they're not interested in having casual sex, but deep down they are. And that relates to my two archetypes of the wholesome pretender and the erotic hypocrite. I know how to break those women down. I know how to break those women down with my verbal seduction skills. So that's different. There's a difference between a woman who's genuinely not interested in engaging in short-term, non-monogamous casual sex versus a woman who wants to give you the misleading impression that she's not interested in engaging in short-term, non-monogamous casual sex. If a woman is genuinely not interested in having casual sex, I don't want to have sex with her. If my interest is casual sex. But anyway, yeah, man, you don't lose no fucking. And let me continue. And the last thing I want to say, Alan, is that the myth of increasing a woman's interest in you by going out on multiple dates with her is bullshit. What have I said all along? See, Dan Sanchez gets it. I want to hug this young brother through the internet. I want to just hug him for saying that. He said it's bullshit. Actually, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. Maybe the weather. Actually, most women, you won't be able to increase their interest in you, and it has nothing to do with your game. For most women, in order to increase their interest in you, you would have to hang around them daily, regularly, and interact with them frequently on a daily basis. Other women know exactly what they want and who they want to be with. Let me repeat that. Other women know exactly what they want and who they want to be with. So you won't increase her interest in you if you are not her type, no matter what you do. This motherfucker gets it. This motherfucker gets it, man. shit. Technical difficulties. Women know if they're willing to have sex with a stranger even before you approach them. By you being indirect, all you're doing is wasting your time, so trying to increase their interest won't work in most cases. It won't be possible. Wait, I think you got more. Wait, now I see. Okay, yeah, let me read one more. This conclusion. This is Dan Sanchez again. Conclusion. There are a lot of women you can lose by being indirect. Women you could approach, but you were so afraid to show your desires and interests. Women you won't have quick sex because you were afraid of telling her that you want to have sex with her tonight. Women you won't have sex with or get into a relationship with because you waste too much time waiting for so-called choosing signals. Choosing signals. Timing is very important. And by being indirect, you miss a lot of chances waiting for the perfect moment and the perfect approach. AMS is so wrong about the effectiveness of being indirect with women versus being direct with women. Dan Sanchez gets it. I know a lot of you all who don't like me, who in AMS camp or some other indirect pickup artists or indirect dating coaches camp. Y'all ain't, what I just said is going to go in one ear and out the other for y'all motherfuckers. But for you more objective-minded motherfuckers, this young brother, Dan Sanchez, just broke it down. He broke down everything I've been saying for probably the last 20 years, man. And again, to wrap up, it goes back to those 4 categories, man. When a woman first meets you, man, she knows which one of these 4 categories you're in. Within the first 5 to 10 minutes, your very first conversation, she knows if she got you in the casual sex fuck buddy category, the long-term boyfriend / future husband category, the platonic friend category, or the I don't want to deal with you at all category. Okay? They know which one of those 4 categories you're in. And what women, the last time I went to Los Angeles, this was what women told me to do with direct versus indirect. If a woman has you in, say, the casual fuck buddy category, but you come at her like you trying to give her the impression you in the long-term boyfriend category, she gonna get turned off. At least half of the 15 women I talked to said they gonna get turned off if a guy does that. Because they're gonna look at you as being wimpy. They're gonna look at you as being a verbal coward. They're gonna look at you as being a beta male. If their interest is casual sex, but you come at them like you willing to be in a long-term relationship with them, you're going to turn a woman off, man. You're going to turn a woman off. You're going to lose pussy by doing that. You're going to lose pussy by doing that. Just like AMS is saying that if your interest is, if you come at a woman too quickly, like all you about is casual sex, you're going to lose pussy because most women want relationships. I'm saying just the opposite. If a woman wants casual sex with you, but you come at her like you just want, like you really looking for a relationship, a lot of women gonna get turned off by that shit. And that's what Dan Sanchez basically was saying that he's come to the conclusion of. You're gonna lose a lot of pussy like that, man. The only time women want you to come at them like you interested in a long-term meaningful relationship is if that's their interest. If that's their interest, then of course, yeah, a woman wants you to come at them like you want a long-term relationship too, if that's their interest. So yeah, it would benefit you to approach a woman with the attitude that you're willing to be her next long-term boyfriend if her interest in you is for you to be her next long-term boyfriend. But I'm telling you, man, if a woman's interest is, say, having a one-night stand, a weekend fling, or some variation of casual sex, and you come at her like you want to be her long-term boyfriend, she gonna lose interest in you, man. She gonna lose interest in you. Go back, if you got my Ooh Say It Again audiobook. I ain't gonna go into detail. Go back and listen to Verbal Seduction Story number 1. Go back and listen to Verbal Seduction Story number 1. If there's one experience I have included in my books that's representative of everything I'm talking about, Verbal Seduction Story number 1, I was on, most of you know, I was on this triple date with 2 of my close friends. And for about the first 75 minutes of that triple date, I was trying to be indirect. I was trying to be indirect with that woman. And what did she do? She treated me like I was a beta male bitch boy. That's exactly what she did. She treated me like I was a beta male chump for the first 75 minutes of that date. She treated me like a beta male chump. And that was because I was trying to be indirect. I was trying to get in her pussy, in her pants by being indirect. As soon as we went outside of that apartment building, and I switched from being mode 2 to a combination of mode 4 and mode 1, man, that bitch became my personal sex slave, man. That bitch became my personal sex slave. She did everything I told her to do. She started calling me sir on her own. Most women who call me sir, I usually tell them to call me sir. She on her own just started calling me sir. Once I became direct and alpha with her, she started calling me sir, man. Everything I told her to do, she would be like, yes, sir. So that's probably the single experience that I talk about in my books, about a time where I started off being indirect with a woman and was treated like a motherfucking beta male chump. And then when I switched to being direct, bitch gave me all kinds of alpha respect, man. When you indirect again, man, even when you get the pussy, man, you ain't gonna get no alpha male respect. You ain't gonna get no alpha male respect being indirect, man. Now, I know some of y'all don't care about alpha male respect versus beta male. Y'all just like, man, as long as I get to fuck her one time, that's all I care about. That's all I care about, as long as I get to fuck her one time. Well, you know, more power to you. Alpha male respect is very important to me, man. Like, I've gone as far as to tell some guys that raise eyebrows. I said, man, there's some cases where I would go as far as to say, I would rather get alpha male respect from a woman and not get any pussy than to get some pussy from a woman but only get beta male attention. I'll give you a quick example of that. I remember one time I was in a nightclub, this was years ago, and there was this fine-ass Asian woman. She was doing one of those, if you used to go to nightclubs back in the day, they would have these women that would try to market certain alcoholic drinks and beverages, certain liquor lines. And she was one of those women. And I was mode 1 hardcore with her. And without getting into a verbal play-by-play of everything I said, here was the bad news. Bad news, she ended up rejecting me. But on the positive end, she just kept giving me this look and like subtly shaking her head. And I said, why you keep looking at me that way? And she basically said, I got to give it to you. She said, you got some big-ass balls. She said, and she basically said, if I wasn't married, she said, I probably would go ahead and give you some pussy. She said, because you just got big-ass balls. I said, so I said, you're in love with your husband. She said, yeah, I love my husband. I would never cheat on my husband. But she said, I'm going to tell you, I love my husband, but if I was comparing him to you, she said, this is what she said about her own husband. Imagine your wife saying this about you to another man. She said, my husband ain't got 1/10 the balls you got. She said, when my husband first approached me, she said he was very, she didn't say beta, but essentially that's what she said. She said, my husband, he was very nice, polite, accommodating, financially generous, basically all the beta male shit. She said, that's why we ended up getting together. She said, he was your classic nice guy. But she said, he ain't never said anything. Like, even since we've been together, when we're having sex, he never talks to me the way you were just talking to me. And see, so that's what I'm talking about. Even though I never ended up fucking this woman gave me alpha male respect, man. That's my consolation prize for not getting a pussy, man. She gave me alpha male respect, man. You only get alpha male respect from being direct. When you indirect, you ain't gonna get no fucking alpha male respect. I'm gonna tell anybody that. I don't care who it is. Dating coach, pickup artist. You ain't gonna get no true alpha male respect when you... And again, those women in Los Angeles, for the upteenth time, that's what they told me. That's what those women told me. That's what they basically said in one way or another. They was basically like, when a guy's indirect, they was basically like, he might get the pussy, but he ain't gonna get no alpha male respect. You ain't gonna get no alpha male respect from a motherfucker being indirect. You gotta show women how big your balls are, man. You gotta show women how... Oh, that brings us to the story. And then now we'll wrap up because I'm getting too long now. But I was in, I think, Costa Rica during my cruise. And the tour guide was giving us highlights. And there was this big iguana on this tree trunk. And I think some women in our boat was like, why is he just like sitting there like that? And the tour guide was like, you might think he's just sitting there, but actually this is how he attracts the female iguanas. See, this is what the male iguanas do. They find a spot and then they I'm going to paraphrase his words just for entertaining effect, but essentially he said it in a more PG-13 manner, but I'm going to say it in the real manner. He basically said, the male iguanas, what they do is they find an ideal spot and then they just show the women their big ass dick. They show their manhood to the women and the women will flock to him. And he said they'll service the women and then the women go about their way. And I yelled out, Mo one. Of course, most of the people on the boat didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I said, Mo one. And people laughed anyway. Even people didn't know what the fuck Mo one was. They just started laughing. And I said, if only human males had it that easy. And sure enough, a little later in that same boat, we saw another male iguana with like 7 females. Because somebody said, dang, it looks like there's a group of iguanas this time. And the tour guide said, no, what you're looking at is 1 male iguana and 7 female iguanas. Again, he said he showed his stuff and the women will come to him like, hey, I like what I see. Man, that shit was hilarious, man. Just think if that's all men had to do. Human males, we just go out the street and just show our dicks and women be like, I like that dick. I'm going to give you some. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, man, all you warm weather motherfuckers, y'all enjoy yourself. I hate you warm weather city motherfuckers. But hey, some of y'all got to deal with hurricanes and earthquakes. I ain't got to deal with that shit. But I do got to deal with 8 to 10 inches of fucking snow. But yeah, man. Oh, one final thing. I started off talking about my brother, man. My brother, man, he's funny. See, me and my brother, we got a lot of similarities, but we got a few differences. And as you know, my brother been married for over 10 years. If you're a Facebook friend of mine, did you notice that I changed my cover photo, what's known as your cover photo? And now I got a picture of The Dark Knight Rises. Well, I've been having a lot of guys in my comment section say, Alan, it seemed like you always talking about casual sex, but you never talk about your desire for true love and long-term romance and marriage. And I'm not anti-marriage. I'm not anti-love. I think love happens when you find a partner that desires and values and appreciates your sexual companionship just as much as your non-sexual companionship. If the non-sexual companionship desire for that is too high and the desire for sexual companionship is too low, that ain't going to be true love. That's a glorified platonic friendship. If the desire for your sexual companionship is too high and the desire for non-sexual companionship is too low, that's a glorified fuck buddy relationship. True love, it got to be balanced, man. It got to be balanced. But my brother, man, after I took the cruise, man, I enjoyed myself. But he basically said, when I get into a long story, he said, don't you think you would have enjoyed that cruise better if you had a woman that was your wife there with you? Not a woman you just fucking or a woman you just enjoy exchanging orgasms with, but a woman that you've, invested emotion into and she's invested emotion in you. He said, you know how I see myself in comparison to you, little bro? He said, I see myself as Alfred at the end of The Dark Knight Rises. I just want to see you, man, one day before I die, man. I want to go to like a restaurant in Italy or Spain. And I just want to see you chilling, man, with a quality honey, man. And you don't say shit to me. You don't be like, hey, what's up, big bro? What's up, man? Good to see you here. You just raise your glass and nod your head like, I finally found the one. He said, that's my dream for you, little bro. That's my dream. That touched me, man. That touched me. That was cool. Peace, fellas. Enjoy your weekend.
sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, king. Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. 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 Oh. Oh. Oh.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
But the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.